Welcome back. Today on the show, we'll talk about some preseason basketball that took place on Friday. We had Las Vegas versus Dallas, Chicago versus Brazil, and we'll also talk about some roster predictions from these games and just across the W in general. Let's get right into it.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are Locked On Women's Basketball. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. We are free and available at Listen Podcast and on YouTube. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. My name is Hunter Cruse. I'm your Saturday host covering the WNBA draft and prospect scouting. Today I'm joined by my co-host, Lincoln Shafer. Lincoln contributes to our draft coverage here at Locked On Women's Basketball. And the next, to kick it off with the first game of the evening on Friday, Dallas against Las Vegas. Lincoln, what was your initial thoughts from this game?
First of all, I'm very glad that preseason basketball is back and in a place where we can watch it. Uh, it's very fun to have these games on television and not like watching a Periscope stream or somebody's TikTok live, because WNBA players had to be doing that 2 years ago too. Every preseason game is being broadcast for free on League Pass, um, which is a super sick thing that the league should have been doing several years ago. But making these games accessible and being able to see for yourself and not just have to trust, like the running Twitter updates of some random person who's there. Very, very fun. The first thing that I noted in this game is that Jackie Young is absurdly good at basketball. Uh, I believe she had 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists at halftime. Ended up playing 29 minutes and had 28 points and 9 assists. If you get to see that kind of aggressive Jackie Young, who's hitting pull-up threes out of pick and roll, who's like finding cutters and making the right play with the ball in her hands, the Aces are still a very dangerous team. And if they can get that consistently from Jackie, 13 free throw attempts in this game really shows her aggression. Um, if she can not necessarily keep that number up specifically, but if she can be more aggressive, getting to the basket, getting free throws, and scoring at a really high level, that's going to be absolutely massive for the Aces. Also, rookie Aaliyah Nye from Alabama hit 5 threes. Um, she was cooking with the ball. It felt like she couldn't miss. She went 5 for 8 from three, 17 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block for Aaliyah Nye. Third on the team in points, more than Chelsea Gray and Jewel Lloyd, who both played over 20 minutes as well. So big showing for Aaliyah Nye. Could have locked her up a roster spot, because she was definitely the most impressive of the others for Las Vegas outside of the big three. Um, on the Dallas side, you got to see Paige Beckers for the first time in a Wings uniform. But you got my two favorite players for them in this game were Isaiah James and JJ Quinterly, the two other rookies that played over 10 minutes in this game. Quinterly was just a dynamo on the court, kind of like moving like the Tasmanian devil. She was everywhere and just doing things. She got to the rim at at will, basically. She's finishing these leaners over much bigger players. She's getting to her spots and hitting these little mid-range pull-ups. And she also had an absolutely nasty backcourt steal into a running layup. Scored the first 12 points of the fourth quarter for the Wings, and was also putting in work before the backups were in. Um, Isaiah James got a couple quick buckets early on, and also was playing some defense, doing some things that weren't just putting the
Making
ball
some
in the basket,
passes.
which is a huge thing for her to see from her, is getting the ball to other people, doing things that aren't just putting the ball in the basket. Because we know that she can score.
hmm
It's just wondering if she can do enough other things to be an impact player for this team. Um, and that was just a very fun time. I had an enjoyable time watching this game. It was never particularly close, and it was never. the outcome wasn't in doubt, but we got to see a lot of the things that we were looking for. My only other notes here, Asia Wilson also very good. And if I was playing power forward, if I was, Kyla Charles or Maddie Siegrist, and I got switched onto Chelsea Gray and she dotted my eye from the elbow, I'd think about going home and not playing any more basketball because that's just such a demoralizing thing because you know exactly where she's going, you know exactly what she's going to do, and there's absolutely nothing you can do to stop it.
Yeah, I was insanely impressed just with the rookies in general in this game.
Hmm.
Like the one thing I've kind of noticed the last couple of weeks is that JJ Quinterly is not 5'8", and it didn't matter. Like
Yeah,
she's probably 5'6", and still out there getting to the rim. The benefit is that she gets so high off the ground that
she
it
jumps
doesn't.
so high.
The vert, it helps her a lot, and
Mhm.
looks so confident
For
in that
sure.
fourth quarter in specific. Yeah, like you said, 16 points in 13 minutes,
Cooking.
doing a lot of stuff. I'm pretty sure Isaiah came in and scored like what 8 in like a couple minutes. Like she scored.
Yeah. In quick bursts. Yeah. Other thing here catching my eye, Maisha Hines Allen had 5 assists, which, if you can find ways to unlock her playmaking without even taking a single shot attempt, that's definitely something that is an absolutely very helpful thing for the Wings. The lineups with Maisha at the 5 and Maddie Siegrist at the 4 were very enjoyable in this game. Uh, they keep the ball moving, they make things happen, they're kind of more switchable defensively. Uh, and I think they started the second half with um, Beckers, Carrington, Siegrist, and Hines Allen, which is something that
Mhm.
is a very fun lineup that I'll definitely be keeping an eye on.
Please
Uh,
go small ball.
yeah, do some small ball stuff. This is going to be a very, very fun things can happen when Chris Kokonis lets the smaller bigs go to work out there. Uh, Joyner Holmes is still playing preseason games, so that's
Oh,
fun. It's going to be an interesting. It's going to be interesting to see who gets kind of the last spot. Kiki Herbert Harrigan she didn't play until the very end of the fourth quarter, which was a bit
right.
surprising to me. I would have thought that she would have been one of the ones they tried to get in a little bit earlier. But who knows?
The the odd thing to me was that Maddie Scott
Yeah,
didn't play for what was the first 3 quarters. Like she came in
yeah,
very late as well.
hmm
She played less than Aeronet Vonleh, who was their third round pick,
yeah,
which is fascinating because they took Madison Scott at what 14 ish.
hmm yeah. And I mean, Quinterly and James were the first rookies off the bench.
Yeah, they brought
And
in Joyner Holmes before Maddie Scott, which is odd to
yeah,
me.
yeah. Kyla Charles got a good amount of run before we saw Maddie Scott. Also, Mai Yamamoto hit an absolutely towering skyscraping three. Um, they're playing against. They have a couple more preseason games, so we'll see what the rotations look like there.
Right.
They're playing. I think they have a game against the Toyota Antelopes, the Japanese league
Oh,
team. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Preseason rotations don't mean everything, but
right.
it is tough to ignore a first 3 quarters DNP for a couple of rookies
Yeah.
in this game
Yeah.
specifically.
I think it means something if you go multiple games without playing, like
Right.
barely playing. It's like, do you not even
Yeah.
want to get a look at these players? Like,
Right. That was another one of the concerns on the other side. First 3 quarters, we did not see Deja Kelly or Liz Kitley, Harmony Turner, or Queen Egbo. So, it's not necessarily like saying they are or aren't going to make the roster because of that, but it is something that I'm keeping an eye on for sure.
Kitley and Egbo might just make it because the numbers.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
don't.
Crystal Bradford was the backup four, and they basically just played Asia and Kia Stokes at the 5 when they didn't have both of them out there.
They ran Jackie 29 minutes in a preseason game.
Yeah, You know, we joke about Becky's rotations a lot, but that is a lot of minutes for your starters in a preseason game.
In game one.
First preseason game, hey, get them some run, get out there, see what's happening. Yeah.
So let's get to our second ad break, our first ad break, and then in segment two we'll talk about Chicago Sky versus the Brazilian national team. Ever check your bank account and wonder where did all my money go? Well, with Monarch Money, it helps you from helping keep you on track between dining out, online shopping, entertainment. Monarch Money is your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app; it's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When you start using Monarch Money, you realize how much money you are spending on food, saving on food delivery, and it allows you to budget smarter and save more. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. You can use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Okay, to move to the second game of the evening, Chicago versus Brazil. Lincoln, one thing you want to note was about who was playing for this Brazilian team. Who were the
Yeah,
players?
it's about
Because obviously
uh,
some of the best players like Camilo Cardoso is on the Sky.
yeah, the three WNBA players that are Brazilian right now. Well, Stephanie Suarez is hurt, so she wasn't going to play in this game because she is not playing this WNBA season with injury. Um, and then you can't play for a WNBA team and for a preseason game, play for the national team against that WNBA team. So that rules out Demiris Dantas and Camila Cardoso. Uh, and Brazilian legend Erica de Souza finally retired. This was a Brazilian national team made up almost entirely of uh, players already playing in the U.S., which included six or seven current college basketball players and a couple of incoming freshmen like Ayla McDowell and Manu Alves. McDowell is signed to South Carolina and Alves is signed to Illinois. Uh, and a couple pros. The leading scorer is playing in Bulgaria. She's been a pro for a couple years now. But a lot of college players and incoming freshmen from all over the country, really. Isabel Verajao got into the game at Syracuse. Manu Alves started the game guarding Angel Reese, and she did an admirable job for a 18-year old that's about to go to college. Um, and it was a young Brazilian team out there that is not necessarily their senior national team, but the players who are in, like Bella Nascimento from William and Mary was a last minute replacement for somebody else that couldn't play, and she came in and got some run in the game. But this Sky team is doing a lot of interesting things. The first thing that caught my eye for this Chicago Sky team is the way that Tyler Marsh is getting Angel the ball. Because it's not just post ups, it's not just catch the ball at the top of the key. He's finding different ways to get her the ball on the move. Getting to her right hand really was something that I noted a lot. Is they're trying to get Angel to go right, which is interesting because she is left-handed, but she is ambidextrous dribbling. She can go to her right. That kind of usage is very interesting to me. Where she's catching the ball, how they're getting her the ball going downhill, and how do you leverage like her passing ability, her movement ability, and her ability to get to the rim and draw fouls. So that's something that I'm keeping an eye on. They're running pick and rolls, inverted pick and rolls with Angel handling the ball and Courtney Vandersloot setting a screen and popping. That's definitely something that's very intriguing to me because Angel has the skill set to be able to take advantage of bigger, slower defenders in that way. Um, that was definitely the first thing that caught my eye.
Yeah, just imagine like being in high school and then They're like, oh yeah, let's go play WNBA team today.
Yeah, we
Let's
gotta
go
go.
play.
I gotta go guard Ariel Atkins for 15 minutes. That's not fun.
And to be honest, 89-62. That's
They
not what
went
you
on
would expect.
a huge run to end the first quarter, open the second quarter, where it was like 13-13, and then it was 40-17. Uh, and a lot of that happened when they started bringing players in off the bench. Rebecca Allen, Elizabeth Williams, and Michaela Onyenwere were really, really key players in this game, and I think are going to be key players for the whole season. They have a lot of vets coming off the bench, and that kind of is they're hoping that can turn into competency in their bench lineups on the court. Mariah Jefferson, um,
Hopefully she
Elizabeth
plays good
Williams,
this year.
no, yeah, Mo Jeff of Minnesota years would be much preferred to the very often injured and hardly on the court Mo Jeff of the last 2 years. But these vets are really, really talented still. Um, and if you can find ways to leverage that with the talented young players you have, there's certainly some stuff. There's some stuff there. The Mariah Jefferson, Rachel Banham, Rebecca Allen, Michaela Onyenwere, Elizabeth Williams lineup is all vets. All of those players have been in the league for a long time. They know what they're doing. They know how to work together as a unit, and they can absolutely punish some opposing bench lineups that don't have as much, competency across the board.
And what do we think this roster battle looks like for Chicago?
Yeah, I think it's hard to see any of those five missing or the five starters last night, which was Courtney Vandersloot, Ariel Atkins, Kia Nurse, Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso. So then everybody else on the roster is fighting for the last two spots. You have to imagine that their first round pick, Haley Van Lith, has the clubhouse lead right now
Yeah, I would be shocked if she didn't make it.
for the 11th player. And then, one of Tilly Bowler, who came in and got shots up at the very end of the game, Maddie Westbeld, Mo Birch, Allie Wilson, Arella
So there's
Grantis.
there's one spot for those
One
players.
spot for all those players, yeah.
Whew.
Uh, yeah, so they certainly have some decisions to make. Uh, they have a couple more preseason games. Definitely don't have to make the decision now. I believe the roster cutdown day is May 17th. Could also be looking at, the people who get cut from another camp. But it is pretty rare to have, like, such a solid 10. Mariah Jefferson, Rachel Banham, Rebecca Allen. They're players that are contributors for just about any WNBA team, and they're just your bench unit. That's a very solid combination, especially like the combination lineups of Rebecca Allen and Michaela Onyenwere, because neither of them's quite a three and neither of them's quite a four. And when they can work in tandem to do things,
Hmm.
you have Becca Allen on the back line working as a help defender and switching and getting her threes up, and Onyenwere getting to the rim and finding ways to make an impact as a rebounder. That's a really fun pairing to me.
Yeah, so let's get to our final ad break and then close out today's episode. All right, for segment three, any thoughts on the roster situations between Dallas and Las Vegas? Um, I think we got to assume that JJ Quinterly is on this roster. I
Yeah, I think it's hard to say that. Well, the issue there is Ty Harris didn't play last night, out with an injury, and
yeah,
you have to think that she's got pole position to be on this team.
yeah.
So then you have three or four spots for Kyla Charles, Kiki Herbert Harrigan, Joyner Holmes, Isaiah James, Maddie Scott, Aaronette Vonleh, JJ Quinterly, Lisa Geiselsoder, Maya Yamamoto and Mackenzie Forbes. Um, but yeah, you have to think that after their performances last night, that Isaiah James and JJ Quinterly are in the lead for that spot going into the rest of the preseason. It's hard to ignore when you come in and you dominate a game for 5 minutes at a time, um, and just kind of take over the way that Quinterly did. She's been one of my favorite players since her sophomore year at West Virginia. She just does so many things with the ball in her hands. Great handle, great defense, gets to the rim at will. So I love basketball, and I'm glad the WNBA is back. I'll go out on a limb and say that.
It's still so wild that she fell to round three. Like there was no
Yeah,
reason for that.
very talented
Like
player, but apparently you can only go in the first round from West Virginia if you came from Michigan, I guess. I don't know.
at the very least, JJQ is going to be on some roster this year.
Yeah, yeah.
Like after that, there's so many teams where it's
Anybody could use a ball of lightning coming off the bench at either guard spot who can handle, can defend, and can get to the rim and kind of run your offense. That's absolutely a thing that several WNBA teams need badly.
then for Las Vegas, it's a little bit tougher to predict because right they have Cheyenne Parker Tyus who
Mm,
out for the first 3-ish months.
yeah.
Uh, who else is injured for this Las Vegas team? Is that it?
Dana Evans missed the game last
Dana
night, but I
Evans.
don't.
Yeah,
Megan Gustafson also
right.
suffered a
Yeah.
lower leg injury in practice this week. No timetable for her return, which is a little bit concerning. She is
Uh,
on an unprotected
yeah,
contract.
that might just kind of push her out.
Yeah, it's tough, but it definitely could. The big problem for this Aces roster as a whole with construction is that they picked up Kirsten Bell's option.
Oh my gosh.
Um, Her contract is guaranteed um, because they picked up her option 2 years ago, which
She
is
came in and just
was
got cardio. Like,
yeah, it was baffling to pick up that option at the time, and it nothing about it has made them look smarter necessarily. Um, yeah, she got about a 2 minute run in the first quarter, and then Becky was like, "No, we're not doing this," and then she sat until the end of the game, basically. Um, one, at least one of the rookies is going to make it. I feel pretty strongly, considering the way that they structured Chelsea Gray and Tiffany Mitchell's contracts, that Aaliyah Nye is probably going to make this team. Aaliyah Nye and or Liz Kitley, especially after Aaliyah Nye's performance last night. It's hard to argue that she isn't maybe their best scoring option off the bench behind
she
Dana
might be their best.
Evans. Yeah,
Might
she
be their
might be their
best
best
bench
shooter.
player.
Uh,
She's already gonna pass Kirsten Bell in the rotation.
yeah,
She,
yeah.
that
And Dana
quick.
Evans could be very important for this team coming off the bench. It's hard to see Evans and Tiffany Mitchell both getting run the whole season. It's probably going to end up being one or the other in the playoffs.
Hmm.
But they're both veteran options who bring a little bit of their own thing. With Dana, you get the 3-point shooting and a little bit of the defense. Tiffany Mitchell is going to get to the rim and take some of those mid-range pull-ups. Uh, and you just kind of work from there. The Aces are still a very, very talented team.
Yeah, the bench is just gonna be the question with this team. And
Yeah, we all know that Becky doesn't like to play more than 7 or 8 anyway. So, can you get 2 or 3 bench players that can do a little something?
any other thoughts?
Uh, I'm excited for more preseason basketball. The Fever play in about 2 hours against, and they play again tomorrow against Brazil. We have preseason basketball all week for free on League Pass, and I am so excited for more. Uh, as a friend of the pod has said before, instead of being literally unwatchable now, it's only figuratively unwatchable basketball happening in the preseason. And I love watching players that will never come close to making a WNBA team kind of cook for 6 minutes at a time in the preseason. I'm still hanging on to Stephanie Mauli hype from like 2 preseasons ago when she was the best player on the floor against the Aces for 4 minutes. And I think that you should give her another shot, somebody out there. I just I love preseason basketball. It means nothing. Everyone's going crazy. All the superstars are just vibing, and all the bench players are trying as hard as they can. And it's such a funny dynamic that I love to watch.
It's wild they have Indiana playing a back to back.
Yeah, Indiana's playing a back-to-back in the preseason, which
And they're
really
going to
explains
they're go,
why Caitlin is listed as questionable for today. Because why are you playing a back-to-back in the preseason with two
well
noon
she's gonna
games?
probably play tomorrow because
Yeah, in Iowa City.
yeah, so it's in Indiana on Saturday, and then they're going to Iowa on Sunday
Yeah,
to play
and
Brazil.
yeah, maybe Aaliyah Guyton is on this roster. It'll be kind of funny to see if she plays in Iowa City. She just transferred away from there.
Wait, she's on the Brazilian roster?
She is on the Brazilian roster. Aaliyah Guyton. Yep. So, a
Is she
return to
suited?
Iowa City. I'm pretty sure she might have even gotten in the game last night. I don't. She didn't make any appearances early in the game, but I think she is on the roster.
Aaliyah-
Box
Ah,
score: Brazil. Maybe she wasn't on the roster. Maybe she got replaced on the roster. Who knows? But she was on the original roster.
oh. Well, anyways, thanks for making Long Women's Basketball your first listen every day, or your second listen. We appreciate it if it's your second listen as well. And we'll be back this week for more WNBA draft coverage. We'll be getting into our post-draft stuff as well on the show. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Have a good rest of your weekend, everyone.